Welcome everybody to Bant Cheerios. You guys know how much I love Cheerios. Not the cereal, just the card type. If it's got a 0 in its mana cost, it is a Cheerio, and we want it. This deck has Alistair the Brigadier as the commander. It's got 1 Bant as its mana cost. Whenever you cast a historic spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. See where I'm going with this? 0 mana artifact soldier, 0 mana artifact soldier, right? You're getting the 1/1 soldiers for free essentially. And whenever Alistair attacks, you can pay 8, and if you do, creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of historic permanents you control, which could be potentially very big and very deadly. So let's dive in. So we've got the bread and butter, which is the Cheerios. It doesn't really matter what these do. These just have to be Cheerios. They just got to cost 0. It's like Darksteel Relic doesn't even do anything. It's just a 0 cost that's indestructible. These ones, you know, we've got some equipments in here, and Herbal Poultice. You can sacrifice it to regenerate a creature. That's interesting. Memnite's a creature. Mishra's Bauble draws you a card later on. We're looking at the top card of the player's library. So that's pretty fun. We got Mox Amber, Mox Opal, right? Some mana rocks. Very important, the most expensive pieces of the deck, honestly. And there are some much cheaper other Cheerios you could put in, but these I think are the most effective. I'd say proxy them, right? Because Mox Opal just went up in price again, I believe, and Mox Amber's always been expensive. So Ornithopter, Paradise Mantle, makes something into a mana dork. Fire Action Walkers is a 0/3 creature. Spellbook, no maximum hand size. That's very important for later. Spider's Neck, that's another equipment. Tormod's Crypt is really good as a graveyard exiler, and Welding Jar, you can regenerate a target artifact with it. So yeah, various effects, but the 0 cost is the most important thing. Next, we've got our card draw stuff. This is fun. So there's a bunch of different kinds of things. Even the score costs blue less if an opponent has drawn 4 or more cards this turn. It's really pretty good. And then you just draw X cards, right? This is just the value draw spell. Reality Heist will cost 1 less for each artifact we control, which will presumably be a bunch. And then you just look at the top 7, put 2 artifacts from among them into your hand. Not bad. Riddlesmith. Whenever you cast an artifact, you may draw a card and then discard a card. Fantastic. Vidalcan Archmage is similar, but you don't have to discard the card. So whenever you cast an artifact, you draw a spell. Sarah Jane Smith is whenever you cast a historic spell, Investigate. So that'll make the clues that you can draw from. It only triggers once each turn though, so maybe that could be switched out. But now that I'm looking at it, but can't remember for what. But anyway, so we got Tamio's Logbook. 6 mana, tap to draw a card, but it costs 1 less to activate for each other artifact you control, so this might just be 1 mana, tap to draw a card. The value is all over the place. Transplant Theorist, whenever it or another artifact enters under control, draw a card and discard a card, same as Riddlesmith, right? Just an updated version that's also an artifact itself, that you can put cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library that you can do stuff later. Enablers. There's a bunch of enablers. Artificer's Assistant, of course, is similar. Historic Spell, Scry 1, so that can help you get through the deck or see what's coming in the deck. Chroma's Memorial. We can pay 8 to get all our things out. Once we've got our things out, we can give them Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, and Pro Black and Red, which is the colors that aren't in this deck. That's just generic value. That's going to be really good because we're going to need all those soldiers to have some sort of protection and some sort of big things or whatever, because we're swinging wide, right? Darksteel Forge, give our things indestructible. Encroaching Mycosynth, we want to turn everything we cast into artifacts, plus the soldiers, right? Turn them into artifacts, which is good for Darksteel Forge. Fabricate, we just search for an artifact, which could search for the Forge or Encroaching Mycosynth or Chroma's Memorial, whatever we want. Let's pass over these for right now. Cadolfo Forge Master, we can sacrifice 3 of those Cheerios if we want to search for an artifact on the battlefield. Again, another search is really good. Override, counter target spell unless this controller pays 1 for each artifact we control. Which is probably not going to be able to pay that much, potentially. So it's kind of a fun counter spell that I like. I mean, honestly, you could switch for just a generic counter spell, but I just think this is more insulting. Roar of Reclamation. Each player returns all our artifacts from the graveyard to play. We're probably going to have more artifacts than everybody else, so that'll be much more better. Primal Rage. All creatures we control gain trample. There are better things that do this, but I wanted to keep the deck costs or the mana values low, just to keep it low to the ground and keep things just as fast and generic as possible. But honestly, you could switch this for a I don't know, one of this like Garruk's Uprising or one of those. It's like all your creatures have trample and it has trample or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Hurkyl's Recall and Retract are the same. Return our artifacts we control to its owner's hand, their owner's hands. Hurkyl's Recall is target player. We're probably going to target ourselves. So these two return all our artifacts to our hand. So cast all our Cheerios, bring them back to hand, cast them again, make all those soldiers. It's good. It's value. Finishers. I mean, look at these here. Okay, Psymaster Thopterist is not really he's kind of a finisher, but also an enabler. I don't know, but it's whenever we cast an artifact, we create a 1/1 Thopter with flying, and since we're going wide, we want all the tokens we can get, so that's kind of the finisher aspect, right? Mondrak creates double the amount of tokens from Psy and from Alistair. Divine Visitation turns all of those tokens into 4/4 angels with flying and vigilance, and then displaced dinosaurs. When all our 0 cost artifacts enter, and the lands that are also artifacts, when they enter, they just become 7/7 dinosaurs. Displaced dinosaurs is freaking busted. It's so fun. I really I really like it. But yeah, there's that. Just generically awesome. Yeah, those are finishers. I think it'll be pretty fun. Maybe these are too expensive for stuff, but I think I like it. Flex spots. We got Urza in here. Right, he enters, create a 0/0 equal number of artifacts we control. It's power. And we can tap all our Cheerios to add blue. So that's the flex where it's he's providing mana as well as shuffling our library and exiling the top and casting things for free. So that's kind of just a fun, it's just a really good artifact thing. Yeah. Braided Net is really cool, and there's 3 net counters on it. You can tap it, remove a net counter on something, and freeze something, essentially. Its activated abilities can't be activated for as long as it remains tapped. I guess it's not frozen, but you do that at instant speed, tap something down, and it can't activate its abilities. Just could be cool. Anyway, it crafts with an artifact, so you exile it and another artifact, and you flip it for a Braided Quippy. So you pay 3 in a blue, tap it, draw a card for each artifact you control. That's where it flexes, right? You can it taps down things, but it will also draw us a ton of cards, and then it goes back to the top, and then we can, or the third from the top, and then we can do it again. You'll be able to draw a bunch of cards from this thing. Pretty cool. Lands, of course, we've got all the let's see, yeah, the artifact lands in here, and just generic, Radiant Grove dual lands. Honestly, I don't put many expensive lands in these because I want to keep the cost to pretty much what it's going to be without adding super expensive lands. So put in whatever lands you want. But yeah, definitely have like Seed of the Synod and Tanglepool Bridge and Tree of Tales, all of the artifact lands. I think those are very handy. Displaced dinosaurs, like I said. Nuance here, we've got Golem's Heart. Whenever a player casts an artifact, we may gain a life. Cheerio, like 0 gain a life, 0 gain life, 0 gain life. Fun. Unstable Glyph Bridge is kind of a mass removal-ish. Enters battlefield if you cast it. For each player, choose a creature with power 2 or less they control, and then destroy all other creatures except creatures chosen this way. So you can choose something small and keep it. Our commanders just just slightly bigger, but honestly, it's a board wipe, right? So you're going to lose something, which is fine, right? But this one also crafts an artifact and transforms into a golem with flying. So whenever an opponent casts a spell during their turn, they can't attack you or planeswalkers you control this turn. And each opponent who attacked you with a or a planeswalker you control this turn can't cast spells. So it's like they can attack you, or they can cast spells, right? They can't do both, which is really annoying and is very good protection. So it can build up an army basically, but hopefully. Speaking of protection, right? We got Heroic Intervention. Give all our permanents hexproof and indestructible. Very smart. Lazotep Plating. Amass 1, who cares? You and permanents control get hexproof for them on turn. That's pretty good for our commander and all that stuff. And all the other whatnots. And Tamiyo Safekeeping, again, keep our target permanent. Gives it hexproof and indestructible and gain 2 life. Pretty awesome. Ramp is, it's ramp, right? Ethereum Sculptor, Foundry, Inspector, Joyous Familiar makes all our artifacts cost 1 less. Joyous Familiar, Historic Permanents, but it's basically all just artifacts anyway. So just make things cost less, so hopefully they cost 0, and then we can start playing things, our higher cost artifacts for less and all that. Blinkmoth Urn, for example, we can, at the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, if it's untapped, that player adds colorless for each artifact they control. We're going to have a ton of artifacts, so this just stacks way farther for us probably than other players, which is really good. Krark Clan Ironworks, sacrifice an artifact, add colorless. Fantastic card. Moonsilver Key searches for an artifact or a basic land. It just has to have a mana ability, right? The artifact. So you can search for any of these. Or like you can search for Soul Ring or one of the Moxes, right? That were earlier up. So search for one of those, or just a basic if you need. Mycosynth Wellspring enters or put in the graveyard. Search for basic land into your hand, which is nice. A Soul Ring, of course. Wayfarer's Bauble, search for the lands, right? Sell them some Lacrum. We all know these cards. Targeted removal, we need a bunch. Because, well, I guess we got a pretty good amount. Right, just Frozen Grip, and Dispeller's Capsule, and Nature's Claim, right? Destroy artifacts and enchantments. Very good. Dispatch is a better version of, what is the better version of Swords to Plowshares, because you don't have to give the person anything. If you control 3 or more artifacts, you just exile a creature for 1 mana. It's pretty awesome. Haywire Might is an artifact itself, and then you can sacrifice it to exile a non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. It's pretty good. Swords to Plowshares, there's another one, right? Exile a creature. Path to Exile, another one. Meteor Golem, it's an artifact, and when it enters, you destroy a non-permanent. Pretty awesome. Again, Hurkyl's Recall, return all artifacts to hand, then you can do it again. And then you've got those cost reducers and all that stuff. It loops. Sylvok Replicator, another artifact. When it enters, then you can pay green, sacrifice it, destroy an artifact enchantment. That's pretty awesome stuff. I kind of playtested this a little bit with myself here on Moxfield, and it's pretty neat. I made a bunch of changes as I was going through. I was like, oh, that doesn't work, I can take that out. Oh, that doesn't work, I'll take that out. So basically, by turn 4, by turn 3 or 4, you should be able to get Alistair out, and then theoretically you'll have 2 or 3 or 4, probably like 2 or 3 zero cost artifacts in your hand, and then like boom, 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 all of a sudden you got 4 creatures on top of Alistair. And maybe that freaks people out, and they're like, oh geez, slow down, right? So anyway, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, but that's my deck. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully it's fun. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love Cheerios. I love you guys. I love the TCGplayer affiliate link in the description below, where you can purchase all your cards, and the Milkman Proxies link below, where you can purchase all your playmats if you'd like to on either of those. It helps out the channel and helps them out as well. So there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time for your weekly dose of magic.